Officials say the airstrikes targeting civilians are meant to cause fear and defeat. For now, though, Ukrainian resistance appears to be holding.
The Ukrainians continue to fight back very bravely and skillfully. And you've heard me use the word creatively, and I would say that continues to be the case.
With Russian ground troops stalled, the Kremlin is resorting to airstrikes. New visuals show the extent of the devastation. The city of Kyiv seeing its heaviest bombardment yet. One strike hitting an apartment building in the early morning hours. Another rocket crashing into a city street. In Mariupol, fires burning across the city. Many high-rise apartments destroyed. This as Moscow expands its assault to the western part of the country. U.S. officials warning the city of Lviv could be next. Russia believes it's a staging ground for Ukrainian resistance and Western military aid.
The more that Russia conducts strikes in the west of Ukraine and the more Russian forces move in that direction, the greater the chances for miscalculation.
Bradley Bowman with the Foundation for Defense of Democracies on CBN's Faith Nation.
That's why it's so important, in my view, that the United States, working with our NATO allies, reinforce NATO's eastern flank in the Baltics, in Romania, in Poland, to deter Putin from any aggression directed at NATO lines, because once he does that, that would invoke Article 5 of the North Atlantic Treaty, and you would have Russia and our NATO allies at war, something we were able to avoid for 4 decades during the Cold War.
Meanwhile, feeling the pain of Western sanctions, the Kremlin has reached out to China for military equipment. China is said to be considering the request, though Beijing denies it. The State Department with this warning.
We will ensure that no country is able to get away with such a thing.
And in Russia, a brave show of resistance when this woman crashed a newscast on Russian state TV to protest the war in Ukraine, shouting, "Stop the war, don't believe the propaganda." More peace talks between Russia and Ukraine are expected today. And on Wednesday, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky will address Congress, and President Biden is reportedly considering a trip to Europe in the coming weeks. In Washington, Jenna Browder, CBN News.
Senior international correspondent George Thomas is with us now from Ukraine's capital city, Kyiv. George, you felt those powerful explosions this morning. Explain where you were.
Yeah, I mean, the first one started around 4 o'clock, around 4:10 in the morning. It jolted me up. I put a mattress up against my window and keep the window a little ajar in case a missile were to land close to where I'm staying. The concussion won't necessarily blow the window out. It would soften the explosion, and the bed, the mattress, hopefully, keeps the shards of glass and other metal from hitting me and coming into the room. But then at 4:10 this morning, oh my goodness, I heard a jet. And I thought, wait a minute, is that a Russian jet? And probably about 20 seconds after, boom, the first explosion goes off. And I've been in a number of earthquakes, and Ephraim, my room moved like this. And I thought, wow. I got up, and then boom, another one. And then obviously the third explosion happened. So I've figured out the difference between, the Ukrainians launching a surface-to-air missile as opposed to an incoming missile. And those three were very powerful incoming missiles. Keep in mind, Russia has launched over 900 missiles since they started the war back on February 24th. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable and frightening. Now, Kyiv has just announced curfews. Can you tell me the details about this and why they're imposing the lockdowns?
Yeah, so Ephraim, it starts tonight time at 8 p.m. and runs all the way till Thursday at 7 a.m. Basically, nobody can go out on the streets, cannot go shopping, cannot just walk around unless you're headed, if the sirens go off, and unless you're headed to a bunker. But there is absolutely, it's a total lockdown. And the idea is because that there has been an uptick, Ephraim, in the last 24 to 48 hours. The bombardment on Kyiv has intensified. Pretty much we haven't seen this kind of intensification since the beginning of the assault. So you get the sense that as the Russians continue to stall all, the other option that the Russians have is to launch these missiles. As I mentioned, 900 of them. So they have no other way of hitting the capital. Their troops can't get in because of the defenses put up by the Ukrainians. So instead, they are launching these missiles. And so the idea, the mayor of Kyiv said this morning, he said the next 36 hours could be very, very dangerous. And so he's asking Kyivites to stay off the streets until Thursday morning at 7.
Now, you've been watching the situation down in the south along the Black Sea near Odessa. What's the significance of this port city, and could it fall into Russian hands?
Look, I think, in my opinion, I think if Odessa is taken by the Russians, so goes the entire nation of Ukraine. Why? Because 70% of Ukrainian imports comes through the Black Sea and comes through the coast of Mariupol and Odessa. And basically, if the Russians take Odessa, 70% of the imports coming through the sea, 65% of those imports transit through Odessa. So if they take Odessa, basically the entire access to the sea is cut off. Ukrainians will have no access to the sea. That is devastating for their economy. So the folks in Odessa have put up their fortifications. They're dug in. They are preparing for a potential assault on the city. And the Russians know how important and strategic capturing this significant port city would be to their ongoing assault.
All right, George Thomas reporting for us from Kyiv today. Thank you so much, George. Stay safe. Of course, we're praying for you. Want to let you know that you can help Operation Blessing's disaster relief efforts in this terrible war and humanitarian crisis in Ukraine. You can also call us at 1-800-700-7000. Simply say that you want to give to Operation Blessing's Disaster Relief Fund. You can write us at CBN Center, Virginia Beach, Virginia, 23463. Simply note Disaster Relief Fund in the communication or the memo line of the check. And of course, you can text us. Just text OB Crisis to 71777. You can also visit cbn.com or operationblessing.org. Anything you can do, of course, is greatly appreciated in this time.